Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. And guess who's back? The ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group, Kayode Komolafe, to review headlines on today's newspapers. Welcome back, Mr. KK. It's good to have you.
Great to be here.
Can you see how excited I am?
We're all excited. Everyone is excited.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you back.
Thank you so much, Adesua.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
All right. So let's dive straight into it. We'll start the review, as always, with This Day on Sunday. And the lead story, not surprisingly, is on the concluded protest. And the headline says, Peace returns as protesters shun nationwide 1 million man march. And the writers, DHQ, Defense Headquarters, I believe, vows to counter subversive actions disguised as protest. Police disperse protesters in Abuja, arrest 5 in Ondo. Plateau youth meet with Governor Mutfwang, demand accountability. I think the jury is still out, KK, on the success or the wise of a 10-day, the 10-day protest. I'm not sure from which book of Aluta Continua will you fix a number of days for which you will protest and stuff like that. But hey, we have had 10 days, 2 weekends inside that protest. Some would say that at least it got the government to listen and to at least respond, even if no concessions were made. But, we will have your thoughts on that. On top of the lead story, Air Chief reads the Riot Act to agents of violence, says military duty bound to defend democracy. I think these are issues, arising from all this protest, harsh words being said, here and there, flags of different countries being, hoisted somewhere, and people, just generally almost going haywire. But here we have the head chief reading the Riot Act to agents of violence, say that military will defend democracy in Nigeria. And on top of that story, on page 6 of today's This Day, Edun hosts U.S. envoy. Chinese delegation explores enhanced economic collaboration. That's the coordinating minister of the economy, who's also the minister of finance, Wale Edun. And on top of the masthead, Atiku warns against alleged plots to frustrate Dangote refinery. Again, on page 6. Where we're still, Dangote, issues about Dangote refinery on the cover of most newspapers daily. And I think that this will not go away until people can now queue or drive straight into fuel stations and buy fuel, hopefully at a reduced price, and then with the information that, this is from the Dangote refinery. I think until we get to that level, it will still be Dangote versus the regulator. And I'm surprised that we see how the regulator play. Even in spite of the president's directive, the regulator is still, as they will say on the streets, showing itself. And on the window, Governor Alea fumes as police confirm killing of 15 in Benue. That story is on page 5 of today's This Day. The cover story, very quickly. The caption says, partnering for maritime security. And we have the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, with the Ogun State Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, during the governor's visit to the Naval Chief in Abuja recently. Those are the stories, KK. Protesters, Head Chief reading the Riot Act, Edun, Governor Alia, and the 15 dead in Benue. Those are the key stories.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Article 1 against alleged plots to frustrate Dangote refinery. Yes, that was.
Yeah.
Yes,
that was. Start with that.
That was what led to the story of the Dangote refinery, and yeah.
I'll just ask KK about that.
He will get there. He will get. KK will get there.
You want me to start with that?
Because there are many plots about this Dangote refinery. So many people have alleged so many different types of plots. I want to know your thoughts on that.
No, the way it should be seen, it should not be, in my view, should not be reading conspiracy theories, or plots, but to establish one point, that the Dangote refinery view is more than a business enterprise. It should be seen as a national asset, because as we are, it's supposed to serve a public purpose.
Yes.
If you look at, in the protest, one thing that was common, all the placards in the various parts of the country, was the question of, the domestic, fuel, consumption,
Yes.
And the government itself, because everybody, refers to what the president said at his inauguration, that subsidy is gone, and that it was that statement that, created, the problem. But then we know that the solution to that is that if we have the capacity to refine the fuel that we consume locally, and I think the Dangote refinery, has come, as a solution. We have a problem. It's not an invented problem. It's not a theory. You have a problem which is at the heart of the economy. So if the Dangote refinery, is a solution, it is one of the ironies of Nigerian political economy that it has now, it's now becoming a problem, And I'm saying that, if you look at the problem, the issue from that viewpoint, that what is the public purpose, how is it to be served, then we'll know. And that is why it was good that the Federal Executive Council, gave that instruction that that according to the law, according to the PIA, that domestic refineries, of course, that will include the Dangote refinery, that there will be provision, the feedstock, for the refinery. So I'm saying this, that that the government, should be conscious of its responsibility in this matter. Apart from the fact that it's solving a problem which is at the heart of the economic issues, being raised. No, so I started by saying that, to me, that it's more than a business point, in I think it was in 2020, in the UK, there's this big, pharmaceutical, AstraZeneca, and at that point there was an American company that was about, to have a takeover, of it. The British Parliament opposed it, AstraZeneca is a private business organization, because of the strategic purpose of that particular company to the pharmaceutical industry, in UK, and of course by extension, the healthcare delivery, service in UK. The British Parliament, rose and politicians said, no, that is not just a question of two companies, an American company coming to take over a UK company, because it has implications, for jobs, for the, supply of pharmaceuticals, and the rest, and took a purpose. So I am saying, that apart from and of course in the case of Dangote refinery, don't forget that even though the issues are yet to be, fully clarified, there was a time when it was said that that Nigeria, the nation will have 20%, of it, through, the investment by NNPC, So that shows that that it's not just, a business thing, that that's a public service, a very urgent and very important, public service to be, to be met, and that should inform the attitude of all, those who are involved, So that is why still, until that the issues are resolved, I don't see the Dangote refinery, disappearing, from the front pages, of newspaper, because the issues, are still there. Yeah. So if that goes for Dangote refinery, the main the lead story of this day on today, says something, about what, should be the focus of not just the government, but the public at large, including the protesters, both the visible protesters and the invisible protesters. What I mean by invisible protesters, a lot of Nigerians who also have issues, but are not actually on the street, to borrow what the late Sam Mbakwe, the governor of the old Imo State, said during the June 12 crisis. So that was the day he came to Lagos, to meet Abiola and others. Said that that was when some parts of the country, especially here in Lagos, was shut down, protests and the rest. So Sambakwe said that if in the East people are not on the street carrying placards, that there are people who are carrying their own placards in their minds. And I'm saying that what we have gone through in the last 10 days, the people who carrying their own placards in their minds, not on the street. Of course, they are the overwhelming majority. Those who are on the street were more or less, a representation, of the general mood. And that is to say that, it's now that we should move, at least for now, from the protest mode, to the mode of very deep reflection and drawing lessons, from it. Like I said, these lessons, is to be drawn by the government, by the people, and the general public. To start with the government, that the message, and it's good, even though some people say the president said nothing is broadcasting. No, I think he said a lot of things. And one of the things he said, which is quite important and which is mark of leadership, is that he told the protesters, especially the youth, that we have heard you loud and clear. That is quite, very important, So what the government has had, loud and clear, are things now that should inform, policy, a conception, its articulation, and also its implementation. It should inform the way, policy is taken, so that, there will be delivery, because if there is hardship, the only effective response is that if policies, bring results that can lessen the hardship, if not eradicate it. So that is the lesson. So that the government will, in this case, there is no question of who is. That's why I don't agree when people say that whether the protests have succeeded. I don't know. I think that would be a wrong way of looking at it. I don't think that it's any. It's not the question of who is the winner, who is the loser. Rather, it is that what lessons have been learned, and how can we take these lessons to shape the future. And in this case, we're talking about very immediate future. On the part of the people, I think it's part of the lesson of this thing that because the hashtag says end bad governance. And part of the confusion here is that governance in Nigeria is not only done in Abuja. Governance is the responsibility of governance. We also have it in the 36 state capitals. You have it in the 774 local government area headquarters. That this the idea of almost without the unintended consequence of what the way the debate has gone is that it's like it's like the public is exonerating the subnationals from their responsibilities. Let me give you an example. I find it very ironic when one governor, when receiving the protesters, said, "Yes, I agree with you. There is hunger. That this thing. It is because of the bad policy of this government." Yeah. So I asked myself, was he listening to himself? Which government is he talking about? Because he himself is the chief executive officer of a state, of government.
Could he be responding directly to the issue of the fuel subsidy? That, of course, wouldn't be within the purview of the governor, and the floating of the naira, which these are federal responsibilities.
Yes, but yes, that is federal responsibility. But I am also talking of the responsibility of the states, the responsibility of the state government. That governance responsibility is a shared, responsibility, by the federal government, which of course has the responsibility for the whole country. Just as the state governor to the state government to.
What responsibility is bigger, the OKK? The same way that the allocations are big. Bigger than
you can only talk in terms of proportion.
Yes.
But it's shared responsibility.
I agree totally.
I'm talking about that is a matter of proportion. But I'm saying that there is no focus. Yeah. There is no focus on the other, you know, the percentage of the responsibility that we should expect, you know, from the state, and the percentage that we should expect, you know, from the local government, you know.
Also, the National Assembly, like we were speaking earlier, you know, the representative came and said that in terms of shared responsibility, in terms of what their actual responsibilities are, that people expect their legislatures to be doing constituency projects. So do you agree that there's also a sense of people are holding the wrong people responsible for the wrong things?
No, I agree. I agree with the point that it is not the business of National Assembly members to be performing executive functions. Because when you say you are implementing projects or whatever, you know, I mean, I watched the earlier segment of it, and I think it was you or Steve who put it that you as a legislator, your duty defined by the Constitution is to make laws, you know, for the good of Nigeria, and not the executive project. No, not that. No, but what we are talking here, what we're talking about, is executive responsibility. Yeah. I'm saying that executive responsibility is not only by the center, you know, which of course, like you said, in terms of proportion, has the greater point, but that in the way the debate is being conducted, we are more or less absorbing even the state, you know, from it, you know. And that, for instance, let me give an example. That is reflective in the way this so-called dispute on the 530 billion naira.
Yes.
Now you can see that, you know, even from the way it was posed in the earlier segment of this show, we more or less abandon the primary question and focus on technicalities. The important thing from what the president, by putting in his speech, is that what has happened to the fund, whether it is a loan or grant or not, that is not the proper question. That it was trying to give you an impression that the resources that have been made available by government, you know,
by the World Bank.
It's
not by government.
No, what I say available to government. Available to government. Again, that is the point. The primary issue is not whether it's I got money hand. What has been done with it? Because this money is the name of the people. Yeah. Because if it is a loan, the loan is going to be paid by Nigerian people. The governor who is collecting the loan now, after 4 or at most 80 years, will live there.
So that was why it was important to ask the last question.
And again, no, you are also getting it wrong by saying that the federal government has no basis to make claim to it. If this loans, I'm not saying. I'm saying. I'm saying.
They can't count it as a win.
That is wrong.
That's wrong. You can't count it as a win of I'm listening to you. These are the things I've done to end hunger. If this predates your time in office, it's misleading. If you want to present your wins, you should present the wins as you are working them, or you know, the tractors that they've gotten from Belize, I believe, or Brazil. That one makes more sense. But it's misrepresentation.
You are leaving the primary question. You are going to the second question. The primary question is that these resources have been available to the states. Yes. I mean, there is no fact about that. I mean, no government has.
There's no dispute on that.
I mean, there's no dispute about that fact. That is already.
Mr. Komolafe, we did not abandon that question. That was the last question we posed, and we should turn our attention to the states now.
Let me finish my point.
To break down
but
those
let KK
projects.
Just quickly finish. Land on his thoughts.
What I am saying is that the way you are posing the question, I'm saying that, you know, unwittingly, you are absorbing the state of their responsibility. I'm saying that the primary question, first of all, is that what has happened to the resources available to the state? Well, what have they done to reduce hardship? Yeah. Then we can go into the semantics of whether it is a loan or whatever. Yeah. Because ultimately, if it is a loan and becomes a debt, the debt is going to be a sovereign debt by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is the federal government, you know, if it becomes a debt to be paid, it is the federal government that will pay. But let us leave the semantics. Yeah. Let us deal with the
states
government.
But don't leave the federal government
alone. My issue with the semantics
I'm saying that let us hold the federal government, you know, accountable. Let us also hold the state, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And that we have done. I mean, the Oyo State governor, he put out a statement. He has ruled out what he did with the money. Yeah. Nasarawa State also
was quite important.
Very important, and he ruled it out. And as well as that, so all the state governors, please, the floor is yours.
What did you do with
Let us know what you did with the money. So we go to this day's style. And the cover picture there is Stanley Uzochukwu rising. I mean, we know Stanley, who is the owner of Delborough Hotel. I don't know if you know that same hotel that received the royals when they arrived in Lagos.
The hotel where workers are not allowed to accept tips. I find rather intriguing.
Really? Yeah. So I hope that their salary is quite
I hope so,
handsome,
because I know how the hospitality industry functions. A tip is not a crime.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, I guess he's done very well for himself. At the age of 40, he has built a business empire, Stanel Group.
He's 40?
Yes, he's 40 years old and rising. Congratulations to him for being the
do we have time for any other?
No, we do not have
any other people at all. Absolutely. It looks like we do not have. A few thoughts. I mean, you saw all the papers, by the way. We're wrapping up now. But are there other areas where you? Any last word?
We must not forget the sad incident, in Benue State.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
While we commend the efforts of the security people, what they have done in combating terrorism, banditry, and the rest.
Yes.
Events like this, just shows that it's still a work in progress.
Absolutely.
And that is,
Thank you, KK.
We
it's
hope
good to
that
have you
have you back again. To see how nice it is when we have these banters.
And thanks for that intervention when the Honorable Minister visited.
Yes. That was a very powerful intervention.
I hope that we work on it.
It's always fun to have you on the Sunday morning show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Our Sunday Tonic.
Our Sunday Tonic program.
All right then, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching, and do keep our country safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
Oh, thank you for sticking with us. I'm Adesua Giwa Osage.
And I'm Oji Okpe. For my entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria, enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.